Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, aka Stan the Wine Man. Today we are going to look at 3 blends from Washington State. But before we do that, I'd like to give a shout out to all those people that gave me input on my last 3 episodes. I really appreciate it. Especially to Dave, who told me to put a little backdrop on my window here so that there wouldn't be so dark on me. I don't know if I'll stick with this one, but it was the best I could do on a pinch, so I'll find something else. I think it's a little busy, don't you? I'd also like to give a shout out to a couple other people that have helped me in this. My son Micah gave me some advice. Alan gave me some advice. I got some nice input from some other folks too. So thank you very much. The only way I'm going to make this better is if you guys tell me what I need to do. I guess I also need to quit going a lot. I didn't realize I did that. Anyway, blends are the big thing right now in wine, as you probably all know. Everybody loves blends, especially blends from California and Washington. The funny thing about that is that at my store anyway, Bordeaux's don't sell quite as well as the blends that, you know, from California and Washington. And it's funny because that's what a Bordeaux is, other than maybe Petrus, which is 100% Merlot, a few others maybe. Basically, Bordeaux's are blends of Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, sometimes a little bit of Petit Verdot will be thrown in there. There's a couple others too, but those are the main grapes. There's 5 grapes of Bordeaux: Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, and this is bad. Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec. They don't do Malbec there anymore. And then there's actually 6 that used to do Carmenere in Bordeaux. You can tell this is live, or I would have rehearsed that, exactly. Sorry to lean out of the picture here. There's another thing I'd like to mention too before I get started on tasting these blends. I almost forgot, sorry. Let's see, I wrote it down here. I wanted to give a shout out to the funniest guy I've seen on YouTube. He does a video blog called Bitter Angry Wine Guy. Look this guy up. Bitter Angry Wine Guy. He is funnier than hell. He's not seriously reviewing wines, but the way he does it, you just have to see it. Maybe you've already seen it. Anyway, let's get started on the blends. This is from Tamarack Cellars, Firehouse Red, Columbia Valley. The blend, there you go, again, is 26% Merlot, 24% Syrah, 22% Cabernet Sauvignon, 10% Cab Franc, 6% Sangiovese, 3% Malbec, and 3% Zinfandel. What we call that in our biz is a kitchen sink blend. Look at all the grapes in that. But that's the trend right now, is to have those blends. So let's give this a rinse real quick. Tamarack is located in Walla Walla, Washington, at the old airport base, military airport base, and it is actually located in a firehouse. How ironic is that? So this blend, Ron Coleman is the owner of Tamarack Cellars, and let me think now, his cellar master is Danny Gordon. Ron Coleman used to actually be in wine sales before he went on to start Tamarack Cellars. He gets a lot of accolades in a lot of the wine magazines, Wine Enthusiast, Wine Spectator. They all give a lot of high scores to his wines. Let's see what we get on the nose here. A little dusty element on the nose. A little vanilla. Very interesting, kind of a sweeter, like plums. I get a plum note, maybe a little bit of currant and plum. Interesting nose. There's a sweet vanilla hit on the back end, but not a lot of vanilla, just a little bit. Very interesting nose on this one. Let's see, let's give it a whirl. Interesting. I get a little bit of cassis. Cherries for sure. There's a cassis element in there. It's got this interesting kind of well, black licorice, I guess, anise, as I call it black licorice. Kind of that natural black licorice in it. It's chalky. It's got chalky tannins. I wouldn't call it polished or smooth, but it doesn't have a grip on the backside, so you know you don't get a lot of. There's not a lot of oak influence in that sense. It's almost like there's almost a little bit of a bitter element, although it's not bitter, but it's just a slightly there, maybe a little bit of rubber boot action on the backside of it. It's, you know, it's got a decent finish. I wouldn't call it a long finish, but it fades away a little bit on the backside. Obviously, this would make a great wine for a meal, stews, steak, that sort of thing. But you know what? A little bit closed up on me. That bitter element throws me off a little bit, but you know, not bad. It rolls in at $15, I believe. That's what I wrote down. Yeah, no, $17. $17. I'm not sure about this one for $17. It's a good wine for 10 to 14. When you get up to 17, you're expecting maybe a little bit more than this. It's Bordeaux-like, but it's kind of peculiar to me on the palate. I can't really identify any specific thing in that little bit of a kind of bitter element in the backside. Might throw some people off. It's an okay wine. I'd give it a C+. It's certainly not. It might be a little overpriced for what you're getting, and it's a little peculiar. All right, let's move on to the next one. The Efeste. Oh, sorry, stop right there. Let's practice a zoom in. I haven't. You know what? Let's practice it. Okay. I hope I'm in the right spot. See, this is where I'm messing up, and I don't want to go too... Okay, let's see if I can get this right this time. Can you see it? I hope you can see it this time. I gotta get this down. Anyway, the Tamarack Firehouse Red. 18 bones, C+. Now we're going to move on to Efeste 2010. They call it Final. It's a blend of 50% Cabernet Sauvignon, 41% Syrah, Columbia Valley appellation. Efeste is a really interesting winery. They gotta quit going Efeste is an acronym for three of the last names of the winemakers, and I looked at their website because I couldn't remember all their names. So let me look it up on my iPad really quickly. Yes, it's pronounced FST, excuse me. It's an acronym for the founders Daniel and Helen Farrell. Patrick Smith, Kevin and Angela Taylor. So there's the Farrell, Smith, Taylor, FST. There you go. Pretty interesting. Their winemaker is Peter Devison. And just recently, Brennan Layton left FST and went to work for another winery. So I'm interested to give this one a try. I think I mentioned it's 50% Cab, 41% Syrah. Let's see what we got going on here. See, the interesting thing about wines blended with Syrah is that Syrah is powerful on the nose. Powerful. You get that smoky boysenberry plum action going on. Sometimes it's a little bit stinky because the Syrah is so powerful it's pushing through the aromas of the Cab. But as it opens up, that stink kind of blows off. So just keep that in mind. I'm even getting a little bit of like a little nutmeggy cinnamon thing going on. That's pretty interesting. Definitely plums, boysenberry, and a backdrop of currants. I like that spice element on it. Let's give it a whirl. This one is more polished, definitely up front. A lot of boysenberry and plum notes, a little currant comes through there, and I get a cherry element on the backside. Very full in the mouth. It has good weight and good structure. You can tell it has some life in it. This is a big bad boy here. I mean, it starts off kind of polished and smooth. It expands on the mid palate. The spices come through on the backside, and then you get the kind of a tannic grip. It kind of makes your mouth stick just a little bit. But that's good. It's well balanced, pretty seamless on the palate. I like it's got a red flower element. I can't pinpoint what that is, but it's definitely there. But it needs a big slab of prime rib, some grilled foods, big spicy stew would do. Yeah, this is a great bottle of wine. I mean, there's even that spice element, like a little bit of white pepper, some other things going on that I can't really put my finger on, but it's hanging around the palate, baby. This is a very nice wine. I'm going to give this one an A-. I think it's an excellent wine. I would be tempted to put a couple of bottles of these away for a couple, 3 or 4 years, see how those tannins kind of integrate into the fruit. But great bottle of wine. It rolls in at about $29. A little bit more, but it's worth it. 29 bucks, definitely. Yep, good wine. Right at the back side of that last one, I got even a little bit of black tea, which I love that. All right, let's move on to the, days, I am going to get this right one of these days. So let's get a little zoom in on the, let's see if I can do this now, on the Efeste so you can see the label. Is that good? I hope so. I am bound and determined to get this thing right. Okay, let's move on to the Milbrandt Vineyards Brothers Blend. Let's zoom in right away. Let's get that out of the way. Milbrandt Vineyards Brothers Blend. Let's try this. I think I'm at the right height. Let's see. 2011 Columbia Valley red wine. It is a blend. I'm going to back up here for you. Hopefully you got that one. I had the sales rep email me the You're right, Matthew. I do say a lot. I'm going to work on that. I promise. Okay, let's go to here. I want to see the blend. He sent me the blend. Somewhere. Oh, helpful if I went to email. There it is. So the Brothers blend from Milbrandt Vineyards is 25% Cabernet Sauvignon, 24% Syrah, 17% Merlot, 15% Malbec, 10% Grenache, and 9% Tempranillo. All right, there you go. So another kitchen sink blend from Washington. Let's give it a whirl. Did let's see. Make sure I rinse this. No, I did not rinse it. Okay, here we go. Give it a little rinse. Okay. The last vintage on this one I wasn't a huge fan of, although I think commercially it was quite popular because it was very, very fruity. It was plush and gigantic. Fruit bomb, as we like to say. Let's give this one a smell. Interesting. Get a little smoky ham, smoked ham thing going on. Woo! I just felt like my grandmother went by with one of those old-fashioned type perfumes on. Very perfumey. Get a little bit of spice, perfume. A little bit of tobacco. But it's like like those soap, soaps that are shaped like clamshells and they have that foo-foo-y perfume to them. That's what I'm getting. And currant. So I get a pretty powerful currant. But that perfume just like, I get little hits of perfume. It's crazy. And the smoky, hammy element of the Syrah that's in there. All right, let's give it a try. See what we get. This one's a little bit more restrained than the 2010 vintage. 11 wasn't the best year. I think I mentioned that before in Washington. They had some struggles with certain areas getting fruit, and the production was really low in 2011. But this has a lot of more restraint. Very bright. Has a lot of bright fruit. I get some currants and cherries, a little kind of a sweetness that hits you on the mid palate. It's very grippy on the backside. It's some serious wine. It's interesting. It's like there's this core of like currant, soft currant, juicy currant, and then it gets bright, and it's very grippy on the backside. I even get a little bit of like a root beer and a cola action on the mid palate into the finish. Again, this wine needs food. I mean, to just sit there and drink this by itself, you're going to get puckered up, baby. It's got some seriously bright acidity. The oak is there, grips you up on the back end, but it's still a good wine. It's just like I right now could use a big old chunk of blue cheese. I'm going to need it for this. It's interesting. The spice lingers on the back end. It doesn't taste like there isn't a lot of heat on this, but I have a sneaky suspicion that there's a little bit of I cannot read the alcohol content, but sorry about that. I don't want to drag along here, but I am going to look at what the alcohol content is on this. Let's see. ABV, alcohol by volume, 13.5. There you go. It wasn't hot. So that spice comes from the oak treatment on this. Milbrandt Winery was my winery of the year last year. I think they pump out some fantastic values. They're a great winery. Joshua Maloney, who was the head red winemaker for St. Michel, moved over there a couple of years ago. He's doing an awesome job. I love his Pinot Gris, his whites, his Pinot Gris, his Riesling. They're excellent. So, living up to their reputation. This one comes in at about, let me see, I wrote it down, $15 again. I'm going to give this one a B. It's a good wine. It's above average for sure. It's worth $15. I would put this one away again for a little bit, let it kind of mellow out, let all the fruit integrate, let those tannins soften up, and I think you're in for a really, maybe even an A wine. But there you go, blends from Washington. Today, I'm going to take the weekend off, so I'm glad you're watching. Thank you very much. Let me see, what else did I write down here? Oh, I really boofed it on the Catena Alta yesterday. I don't know if you, Catena Alta, $53. Definitely over 25. Today on Twitter, it's Follow Friday, so shout out to all those people that follow me on Twitter, at Stan the Wine Man. If you want to follow some really cool guys, follow at One Wine Dude, at Gary V, at Clifford Brown III. He really is engaging, and at Alla Wine. Those would be 4 that I would recommend. They give a lot of good information on Twitter. And I'm working really hard on my top 40 wines under $20. I'm typing it out, or I'm working it on my blog. I should have that out sometime next week. So you want to check that out at stanthewineman.com. Excuse me. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. 4th episode's under the belt. Here's to keeping the snob out of wine. Cheers and ciao.